Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Mastering English Podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sam.
So we all know that feeling, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's that desire to be productive. You want to start a new habit. Maybe it's exercising, or maybe it's finally getting consistent with your English study.
Or even just feeling organized for once.
Exactly. But then you hit a wall. Finding the perfect routine is hard enough, but then finding the right English words to even talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
it can feel totally overwhelming. You end up sounding like you're reading from a textbook or,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, translating in your head.
It's a language barrier on top of a motivation barrier. It's a huge universal struggle.
It really is.
And that's why this topic of routine is so rich, not just for life in general, but specifically for language learners. And that's exactly where we went for our deep dive today.
We did. We took a really close look at an excellent English language training module. It was an episode of the English Leap podcast, and it was focused entirely on daily routines. We also looked at some related materials on motivation.
Yeah, the psychology behind it.
Our mission today is pretty simple. We are here to shortcut your learning process. We're going to pull out the most essential vocabulary, the most strategic phrases that the experts teach for structuring your day.
We'll cover everything. We'll start with the mornings, then we'll get into that tricky but super useful vocabulary for avoiding the afternoon,
Ugh, the energy slump.
the dreaded energy slump. And we'll also cover how to use natural English to talk about how you unwind in the evening.
This deep dive is going to give you that practical, conversational English you need. So you're not just listing what you did today. You're actually discussing things like balance and time management and productivity.
And if you're at that A2 or B1 level and you really want to make that jump to sounding more natural, more fluent, this is for you.
So if you want a shortcut to feeling more organized, both in your life and in your English vocabulary, stay with us. And before we jump in, please just take 1 second right now.
It really helps.
Subscribe to the Mastering English podcast and like this episode. Your support is huge for us, and it means we can keep making these deep dives for you.
Okay, so where should we start?
Let's start at the beginning, the whole rationale of routine.
Right, the why. So the source content really establishes this core principle from the get-go. They argue that a routine is, and I'm quoting here, the rhythm that keeps our lives moving forward.
I love that. The rhythm. It's not a cage, it's a rhythm. It's positioned as the foundation for achieving balance and productivity.
It's that invisible, what's the word, framework.
A framework. Okay, let's unpack that word. It's a great one. Why use framework instead of just schedule or plan?
Well, a schedule is rigid, right? If you miss something on your schedule, you feel like you've failed. But a framework is more like the basic structure or the essential plan.
I see. So it provides the boundaries, but you have flexibility inside those boundaries.
Exactly. I like to think of it as the scaffolding on a building. It's not the finished building itself. It just holds everything in place while you work. If one thing goes wrong, the whole structure doesn't collapse.
That is such a helpful distinction.
Yeah.
Especially for learners who might feel, really intimidated by the idea of a perfect routine.
Totally. That idea that if you don't do 5 a.m. yoga, the whole day is a failure.
Right. But a framework means you can adapt, you can adjust. And the way the creators of this module taught this vocabulary was, I thought, brilliant.
The pedagogical choice.
Yes.
Okay.
They didn't just give us one person's routine, which might only connect with a certain type of person.
They gave us two contrasting personas. We have Jennifer and Daniel.
So Jennifer's the student. Her whole world, her whole routine is built around academic structure. She's fitting in classes, she's trying to maximize her study sessions, and maybe have some social life.
And then you have Daniel. He's the professional. His routine is all about corporate efficiency, managing meetings, hitting deadlines, all of those job requirements.
And what's so smart about this is that this contrast, it naturally creates vocabulary for two of the biggest international demographics out there.
Students and working professionals.
Exactly. If you're a learner trying to get to that B1 level, you're almost definitely in one of those two groups.
And your vocabulary needs are different. Jennifer might need to talk about cramming for an exam or attending a lecture.
Whereas Daniel needs phrases like touching base with a client or circling back on a proposal. The core of their day might look similar, morning, afternoon, evening. But the language, the lingo they need is totally different.
It makes the whole thing immediately useful.
Okay, but let me just challenge that for a second. The source really champions routine as the key to balance. But what about, creative people or people with less structured jobs. Wouldn't a really rigid routine feel,
Suffocating.
yeah, suffocating, like it could actually stop you from being productive?
That's a great question. And I think the answer is in the mindset shift they promote. They really emphasize that these routines are not about rigidly following rules.
It's about crafting habits.
Crafting habits that help you feel organized, balanced, and this is the key word, in control.
I see. So even for a creative artist, maybe having a few non-negotiable things like always starting at 9 a.m. and always stopping at 5 p.m., that provides the stability needed for creativity to happen in the middle.
The routine is the safety net, not the straitjacket.
I like that. A safety net. Okay, so now that we have that strategic framework established, let's do what they did. Let's follow the day chronologically.
You're starting with the morning, because how you start your day really does set the tone for everything else, and it introduces some really great vocabulary.
All right, let's dive into the morning. This is where we first see that clear split between Jennifer the student and Daniel the professional. Their priorities are different right from the start.
We begin with Jennifer. Her goal is a gentle, structured start to get her brain ready for a day of classes, which can be pretty draining. She wakes up around 7 a.m.
And her very first action, which I love, happens before she even gets out of bed. It's intentional. She takes a moment to stretch.
Yes, to stretch and breathe. It's not just about jumping up, it's about easing into the day.
So let's define that term, stretch. The expert in the module, Crystal, defined it as to extend your body or limbs to loosen up muscles.
It's a simple act, but it promotes alertness, it wakes up your body gradually, it stops that jarring feeling of going from deep sleep straight into stress.
Right, and after that gentle physical start, she moves on to fuel. She prefers a light breakfast, usually something simple like oatmeal or toast.
And that phrase, light breakfast, is perfect conversational English. It just means a small, simple meal, something that won't make you feel heavy or sleepy before your 9 a.m. lecture.
Totally. Now let's compare that to Daniel, the professional. His goal is completely different. It's about immediate efficiency.
He's up earlier, around 6:30 a.m. He has to be because of his corporate job. Maybe he has early calls with people in different time zones.
And his approach isn't gentle, it's functional. His number one crucial, non-negotiable priority is to drink a full glass of water, to hydrate.
Yes. He really emphasizes this act of hydration. Crystal's definition was simple, to give your body water. But Daniel sees it as the habit that sets the tone for the day ahead.
Let's pause on that word you just used, non-negotiable.
That's an excellent, slightly more advanced word for B1 learners. What does it mean?
A non-negotiable is something that is essential. It cannot be compromised, it cannot be changed, it has to happen. For Daniel, hydration isn't just a good idea, it's a rule he never breaks.
And it's not just for his physical health. He says it kickstarts his metabolism and makes sure his mind is sharp, which you need if you're making big professional decisions first thing in the morning.
So right away, you, the listener, get a choice. You can see which style fits you better. Are you a gentle stretcher or an immediate hydrator?
And either way, you now have the vocabulary to describe it perfectly.
But after those initial physical steps, their paths actually come back together. They converge on the planning stage.
Yes, before the day really starts, before the chaos hits, they both get organized. Jennifer checks her class schedule, her assignments, what she needs to prioritize.
And Daniel checks his high-priority emails, and most importantly, he reviews his to-do list.
Which brings us to our last key term for the morning, a to-do list, which is just a list of tasks you plan to complete.
And Daniel made a really good point in the source material. He said that this organized start helps him avoid morning chaos.
I think we all know that feeling of morning chaos.
Oh yeah, you feel like you're already behind before you've even had coffee. But taking just a few minutes to plan, to review, to prioritize, it's a powerful tool. It stops the day from feeling reactive and rushed.
You're setting yourself up for success. You're being proactive, not reactive.
So to recap that morning language, it's all about health and structure. We have stretch, hydrate, which is a great verb to use instead of just drink water, light breakfast, and to-do list.
And if you can master those four, you can clearly talk about the foundation of your day.
And remember, these are just models. You can use this vocabulary even if you wake up at noon. It's about using the language of an intentional start.
Okay, so now we move into the afternoon. And according to the source material, this is really the heart of the module when it comes to productivity vocabulary.
This is where we get the really good stuff, the idiomatic phrases, the practical terms. The whole focus here is on energy management.
For both Jennifer, who has afternoon lectures, and Daniel with his post-lunch meetings, they have one shared goal.
They have to avoid that post-meal slump.
Absolutely. So their shared strategy starts with what they eat. They both emphasize eating light meals, a salad, a simple sandwich, a wrap.
They want to avoid that specific feeling you get from heavy food, which is being sluggish.
Okay, so sluggish. This is a fantastic word. If you're a B1 learner, you probably know the word tired. How is sluggish different?
That's a great question. Sluggish is more physical. It's an adjective that means slow, heavy, lacking energy. It feels like your body is heavy, like your brain is moving through mud.
It's that feeling after a huge plate of pasta at lunch.
Exactly. And Daniel says that keeping his lunch healthy is vital to avoid that critical mid-afternoon energy slump.
The energy slump. This might be the most useful phrase in the whole deep dive.
I think so too. It's a compound noun. It refers to that sudden, predictable dip in your energy levels, usually somewhere between 2 and 4 p.m.
When you hear a native speaker say, I really need a coffee to fight this energy slump, you know exactly what they mean. It's such a universal feeling.
And what's great about the source is that it doesn't just name the problem. It gives strategies. So once you manage the physical side by not feeling sluggish, the focus shifts to strategic breaks.
Treating breaks as an investment, not as wasted time.
Right. They highlight taking short, intentional breaks for two very specific reasons. The first purpose is to recharge.
Which Crystal defined as simply to regain energy. This is about a complete mental break. You might take a quick walk, chat with a colleague about something other than work.
Or just close your eyes for 5 minutes. It's about refilling your battery.
And the second purpose is to regroup.
This one is more cognitive, more about your thoughts. Crystal's definition was to organize thoughts and prepare for the next activity.
So this is the break you take to look over the agenda for your next meeting or to review your notes for your next study session. You're not just jumping back in, you're mentally reorganizing first.
It's the mental shift. Now, here's where the language gets a bit more advanced, a bit more informal, and this is what really helps a learner sound more fluent. Daniel talks about how, after he takes a break to recharge, he focuses on his most difficult projects, and his goal is to knock them out while his energy is high.
Knock out. Okay, this is a high-value phrase. It's a phrasal verb. It's informal, but you will hear it all the time in professional settings.
So let's define it. The formal definition is to complete tasks or finish work efficiently. But what's the feeling behind it? What's the connotation?
Well, there's a sense of force and speed. If you tell your boss, I finished the report, that's fine, it's neutral.
But if you say, I knocked out the report before lunch,
It implies you did it quickly, you did it well, and with an impressive amount of effort. It sounds confident. It suggests you handled it forcefully and efficiently.
like you conquered it. A student saying they knocked out a tough essay sounds way more confident than just saying they completed it.
Exactly. And the source reinforces this whole idea by mentioning things like the Pomodoro technique,
Right, 25 minutes of focus, then a 5-minute break.
which is the perfect practical application of this vocabulary. You use your 5-minute break to recharge, and then you use your 25 minutes of focus to knock out your tasks.
So mastering the midday is all about using this language to talk about your energy. You eat light to avoid being sluggish, you take breaks to recharge and regroup, and then you use your high-energy moments to knock out your most important work.
It's a language lesson and an efficiency masterclass all in one.
And using these words actually helps you think more strategically about your day. It's not just descriptive language, it's prescriptive.
Moving on to the final part of the day then. We've gone from the start to the peak of productivity, and now we shift focus entirely.
From maximum efficiency to maximum relaxation. This transition from work or study to rest is so important for well-being.
It's about deceleration. If the afternoon is about maintaining speed, the evening is about hitting the brakes. The key verbs here are all about de-stressing.
Let's start with Jennifer, the student. She's got to get rid of all the stress from her exams and lectures, so she likes to unwind and de-stress after dinner.
Often with a short walk or some light stretching.
And then Daniel, the professional, has his own routine for calming his mind after a busy corporate day. He prefers listening to music, reading a book.
Anything non-digital.
Yes, or having a cup of herbal tea to prepare for sleep.
And herbal tea is a great practical piece of vocabulary. It's defined as a caffeine-free drink that helps promote calming effects. It's the complete opposite of that strong coffee you had in the morning.
It's a signal to your body and your brain that the workday is officially over.
Let's dig into those relaxation verbs you mentioned. Unwind.
Unwind means to relax and release mental tension. A very similar phrase, and just as important, is wind down.
Okay, so what's the difference? Unwind, wind down. They sound almost the same.
They're very close. I would say unwind is more about releasing the pressure that has built up. Wind down is more about gradually reducing your speed and energy to prepare for sleep.
Ah, I see. So you might say, I need to unwind after that stressful meeting.
Exactly. And later you might say, I read a book for an hour to wind down before I go to bed. One is about pressure release, the other is about slowing the engine.
That subtle difference is really useful for B1 learners looking to move up to B2.
And then we get to what I think is the most powerful metaphor in the whole module. It comes from Daniel's evening routine.
His final hygiene ritual, brushing his teeth, washing his face.
Yes, he describes this simple, consistent, everyday act as pressing the reset button.
It's such a beautiful metaphor. A reset button. It's not a real thing, of course, but it's a powerful mental trigger.
What does it represent? It's a metaphor for starting fresh, for symbolically releasing all the stress from the day, clearing your mental slate.
So all the failures, the missed emails, the tough conversations, they are symbolically deleted when you press that reset button.
I think it's so effective because it gives a simple, non-optional habit. You have to brush your teeth. This really deep psychological purpose. It makes that transition intentional.
You're not just cleaning your teeth, you're mentally resetting for tomorrow.
After that reset comes a very modern and very necessary ritual, digital disconnection.
Yes, both Jennifer and Daniel emphasize the need for conscious digital disconnection. That means actively avoiding screens, your phone, your laptop, your TV for at least an hour before bed.
And the vocabulary is important there. We do it consciously to help the mind truly wind down and get ready for deep, restorative sleep.
The science is clear on this. The blue light from screens messes with your melatonin production, the hormone that helps you sleep. So the language here serves both the practical action and the scientific reason behind it.
This whole section really ties everything together. You can't be productive in the afternoon if you don't use this evening language, unwind, wind down, reset, to get proper rest at night.
It's all connected.
So now that we've gone through the whole day, I want to take a deeper dive into the educational structure of the source itself. Why did it work so well for learning English?
This is a really interesting part of the analysis. It focuses on the pedagogical model and specifically on the role of the vocabulary expert, Crystal. She's not just a co-host. The analysis calls her an interventional decoder.
Interventional decoder. Okay, that sounds very cool. We have to spend some time on that. What does that actually mean? Why is it better than just, a list of words at the end?
Her role is all about timing. It's strategically placed. She doesn't just talk. She intervenes, she interrupts, but only after a conversational segment is over.
So after the morning section, she steps in. After the afternoon section, she steps in.
Exactly. And in that moment, she explicitly decodes the key terms that you, the listener, just heard being used in a natural context.
So the structure is conversation first, analysis second.
Yes, and that is proven to maximize contextual retention. That's the gold standard for language learning. You hear Daniel say, I need to knock out this proposal. And you understand the meaning from the context first.
Your brain is focused only on the meaning.
Right. And then, only after you've understood the idea, Crystal steps in, confirms the term, and gives you that clear, formal definition.
It's so much more effective. If the definitions came before the conversation, you'd forget them because there's no context. If they came at the very end, the connection between the word and its use would be too distant.
This immediate segment-by-segment intervention, it's just a really efficient learning design.
And we have to talk about the dual utility of the whole thing. It's not just about language.
No, it provides practical lifestyle strategies, how to manage your energy, your time, your stress, and it gives you the English you need to talk about those strategies.
That integration is so important because it creates intrinsic motivation. When you're learning the phrase energy slump, you're also learning how to avoid feeling tired in the afternoon. You're gaining two skills at once.
Fluency and efficiency. It enhances engagement.
And the core message of the source, that consistency in your routine leads to balance, it's actually a perfect meta lesson for learning English itself.
That's a great connection. How so?
Well, the source says a good routine is built on flexible habits, not rigid rules. And that is exactly how you achieve fluency in English.
Through consistent, flexible practice that you integrate into your daily life.
Exactly. It's about having a rhythm, having a framework for your practice.
Sure.
It's not about trying to become perfect overnight.
So consistency in your English practice is the ultimate reset button for a language learner.
I love that. Okay, let's expand this deep dive one step further. Let's bring in some related source material that focuses on the biggest roadblock for any ambitious person.
Procrastination.
Procrastination, or as the source calls it, that feeling of being ambitious but lazy.
That feeling is so deceptive. You have these huge dreams. You want to be fluent in English. You want to get fit. But when it's actually time to do the work, you just freeze.
The source material we looked at really breaks down the psychology of why that happened.
It's because your brain sees a big goal as an overwhelming amount of effort. If you think about an entire book you need to study, your brain's fear center, the amygdala, basically says, whoa, that's way too much effort. That's dangerous.
And your instinct is to avoid it. The brain actually confuses huge effort with real danger.
So the first strategy to overcome this, and this is just gold, is called the vision of success, and it uses a simple past tense trick.
So instead of a stressful, I need to do this to-do list.
You rewrite your goal as if it's already done.
Okay, that's interesting. Give me an example.
So instead of writing, I need to study irregular verbs for 30 minutes, which immediately creates resistance in your brain, you write, I sat down and studied irregular verbs for 30 minutes, and it was actually easier than I expected. I feel really accomplished and ready to knock out my next task.
Wow. Okay, so by putting it in the past tense, you take away all the pressure, you're bypassing that fear response.
You're basically tricking your brain into seeing the success as not only possible, but effortless. You create a mental blueprint of success before you even start.
So if you struggle with your morning stretch, you could write, I did my 5-minute stretch this morning, and my body felt so much more alert and ready to hydrate.
Exactly. It's a simple shift, but it's a powerful psychological tool.
Okay, what's the second strategy?
The second strategy uses a very famous psychological idea called the Zeigarnik effect.
The Zeigarnik effect.
This effect basically says that the human brain hates leaving things incomplete. We are obsessed with unresolved tension. It's why we can't stop watching a show that ends on a cliffhanger.
We need to know what happens next. We need to complete the loop.
Precisely. So the application for procrastination is brilliantly simple. Don't aim to finish a task. Just aim to start it.
You're removing that huge barrier to entry.
Exactly. If you have a list of 50 vocabulary words to learn, trying to finish it is exhausting. Instead, just tell yourself, I only have to learn the first 3.
And once you start, the Zeigarnik effect kicks in, that hatred of incompleteness, and it pushes you to keep going.
It's the perfect tool for building those small, consistent habits we talked about. You don't commit to a 90-minute study session. You commit to 5 minutes. Once you're 5 minutes in, it's so much harder to stop.
I love that. Okay, so what's the third and final strategy?
The third strategy tackles the problem of being busy but not productive, that feeling of running on a treadmill. You're exhausted at the end of the day, but you didn't actually move your big goals forward.
This is addressed using something called the Eisenhower matrix.
The Eisenhower matrix. It's a prioritization tool. It helps you categorize every single task into one of 4 boxes based on 2 simple questions. Is it important? And is it urgent?
Okay, so what's the first box?
Box 1 is for tasks that are important and urgent. These are your do now tasks. A big deadline for a client, a crisis at work.
Got it. What's box 2?
Box 2 is important but not urgent. This is the magic quadrant. This is where your high-value, long-term goals live.
Like learning English.
Exactly. Or strategic planning, exercising, building relationships. This is the box that really drives success, but it's the one we most often neglect because it's not on fire. The strategy here is to schedule it.
Okay, box 3.
Box 3 is the danger zone. Urgent, but not important. These are things that scream for your attention but don't actually help you reach your goals.
Like responding to every single email the second it arrives.
Or attending meetings that don't have a clear purpose. The strategy here is to delegate it if you can, or just ignore it. And delegate is key professional vocabulary.
And the final box.
Box 4 is neither important nor urgent. This is the delete it box. This is mindless social media scrolling, binge watching random videos. Recognizing this category is so important because it shows you where your time is being wasted.
Time that you could be using for those important but not urgent tasks in box 2.
So by using these 3 tricks, the past tense trick to start, the Zeigarnik effect to continue, and the Eisenhower matrix to prioritize, you can build a system.
A system that makes it so much easier to actually incorporate all that great vocabulary, like finding time to recharge or deciding which projects to knock out into your real everyday routine.
The language and the strategy, they work together.
Okay, so let's wrap up this really deep dive. Let's summarize the most practical takeaways, both the language and the strategies, for our B1 learners.
Absolutely. If you only remember a few things, focus on energy and efficiency. First, The vocabulary of energy management. Master talking about a light breakfast to avoid feeling sluggish, and of course, how to fight that afternoon energy slump.
That's high-frequency, natural, everyday English. Second, I would say really practice using that informal but super effective phrasal verb, knockout. It will make you sound so much more confident when you talk about getting work done.
And third, I think, is embracing the psychological power of that evening reset button. Use a simple daily action as a metaphor to symbolically release the stress of the day. And practice using those relaxation verbs, unwind and wind down.
And please remember what the source material kept emphasizing. Consistency in your English learning, just like a daily routine, is built on rhythm and small, flexible habits.
It is not built on huge, overwhelming goals. Focus on applying the framework, not on following rigid, perfect rules.
Yeah, it is so true. And before we sign off, we have a micro challenge for you. A tiny little task to get your Zeigarnik effect started today.
Your small task is this. Try to use the phrase energy slump today. You can use it in a real conversation, or you can just write it down in your journal tonight.
And relate it specifically to your afternoon. When did you feel it? What did you do about it? That one small step will help that new language stick in your brain.
Thank you so much for diving deep into all this with us. We hope this helps you build a better linguistic framework for your day.
And don't forget to subscribe to the Mastering English podcast for more episodes just like this one.
We really appreciate you joining us.
I'm Alex. See you next time.
And I'm Sam. Bye.